Yo, 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 what's good? What's good, KT family? What's up, man? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you guys. How you guys doing? Hope everyone can hear me. We good? Looks like you're good on my end. What's up, y'all? What's good? How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's having a good Saturday, Friday night. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and your family. Happy holidays. Man, what a week. What a week, man. What a week. How's your week been going? You guys, I'm looking forward to having this discussion because I don't see a lot of it on YouTube. So, what are we going to talk about today, huh? So, first of all, where are you guys viewing from? On your way in, please like the video, share it with your audience, share it with your people. If whoever's looking for Vietnam, whoever's looking for some in-depth analysis about Vietnam, I'm going to go over today. Our conversation is going to be about the cost of living here in Vietnam, but I know you see a ton of videos. I know you've seen a ton of videos. So about it, even on my channel, I've done it. But what I'm going to do in this live is I'm going to break down from the tier one, two, three, and four. So I'm going to break down the cost of living in those areas. And yeah, so at the end of this live, I'm hoping that my goal is that you will understand the difference between the mega cities tier one to the rural areas of like example Hazang Loop or the Hajang, Giang, Hazang, pretty much Hazang. All right, so you're going to understand the cost of living for apartments. I'm going to go through all of it. I'm going to show you on the map exactly where these are. So bear with me as I transition in between. Ask your questions in the comment section. And I really hope that this live will be more informative for you guys. And yeah, keep it rolling. So if you don't know who I am, hello. Again, like the stream. That helps grow the channel and push this content out for the masses. So I'm KT. I'm from San Diego. I'm an American who's lived here for 6 years, and I've lived up in the north, south, and central of Vietnam. So I've traveled all over Vietnam in my 6 years living here. I'm engaged to a local Vietnamese, so I pretty much know what's going on. I'm still a foreigner. I don't know everything. So even I get it wrong at times. So in this live, we're going to go over cost of living in Vietnam, tier one through tier four. So that's it. All right. So again, where are you viewing from and how you doing? How's everything? Hope you're doing all right. Let me bear with me. Let me bring up my handy dandy so you can follow along. Cost of living. All right. So if you're new here, these lives I generally try to deep dive into different subjects for you and live answer your questions. All right. So this is raw deal. So we just roll with it. All right. So ask your questions, whatever you need, and I'm here for you. All right, let's jump into it, man. So tier one, let's talk about let me define first what a tier means, because in Vietnam, they don't really have a tier system, okay, like tier city system. So I had to break this down, based on my knowledge and research around Vietnam. So this is not there's no tier system. Just got to put it out there. This is my own tier system. Okay. All right. So just so we got that out of the way, so you guys were like, hey, in the comments, there's no such thing as that. Yeah, that's true. All right. So let me pull up a map as well and share my screen with you guys while we go over this, so I can show you guys exactly what we're talking about, where we're talking about. I like to give that. So let me share my screen. Let me see if I can do this. I'm not even sure. Can I share and do at the same time? Okay. Well, doesn't look like I can. So we're talking about Vietnam, right? And what does a tier city truly mean, right? So let me give you those examples. A tier system is basically tier one. We're going to classify Ho Chi Minh City, where I'm at right now, Hanoi, and Da Nang. Everyone knows the three big cities here. Everyone knows. So we're not just gonna focus on them. We're gonna talk about tier two, Dalat, right? That's here in the south. So again, Nha Trang, Hue, and Canto. Okay. So Dalat. Let me go through this and then I'll revert back. All right. Tier three and tier four. These have huge value. Okay, and let me give you an example. Let me show you where the lot is. Okay, so let's go back to our remove. Let's go back here. Okay, so we're talking about Dalat, right? Here is Ho Chi Minh City, and I want you guys to get some context because what we're talking about is going to be talking about all these different cities, right? Here's Ho Chi Minh City right here. Dalat is right here. So it's just east. All right. Also, so Dalat is considered a tier two city. This is considered a tier two city. This is a mountain town, like a mountain area, I guess you would say. So it's surrounded by mountains. And then we're talking about Nha Trang again, also. So it's here. So Nha Trang is right on the coast. Okay. So Nha Trang is also they like to call it the Miami of in the USA, the Miami of Vietnam. All right, I've never been here yet. I've been to Dalat. I love Dalat. Dalat's amazing, FYI. And so this is another tier two city. So again, you have tier two, tier two cities, two tier two cities right within. This is probably like an hour and a half. Okay, this is like an hour and a half. All right, and then we said, let's go here. Then we said Hue and Canto. So those are two different separate areas. These are tier two. So let's go back to our map and let's go right here. So Hue is up here, but Canto is down here. Okay, so Canto is down here. Again, here's Ho Chi Minh City. Here's Dalat. Here's Nha Trang. Here's Canto down here. Okay. This is the Mekong Delta. All right. So this area right here is going to be probably one of your cheapest, most affordable areas in Vietnam, hands down. Okay. It's getting more expensive just because a lot more people are going and noticing it, but not a lot of people come down here, FYI. Okay. I don't know why. Forgive my voice. I'm getting over a sickness. So as you guys know, last week, it's been persistent. All right. So we're going to talk about a few of these two-tier cities, and then we're going to talk about Hue as well. I'm going to give you different tier two cities than these ones. So Hue is up here in the central. Okay. So it's way up here. All right. Hue is the old emperor, the old capital. So Hanoi is the capital today, but the capital before was Hue, was this area. Okay. So it's pretty built up. All right. There's other areas in Vietnam that are really nice that that cost half, if not a third, of the prices in Ho Chi Minh City and in Hanoi. All right. So I'm hoping that you guys, this live will help you guys understand that Vietnam is not just Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, and Da Nang. Okay. There's a lot of other areas that are within Vietnam that outside of those tier one cities that actually are really cool. All right. So we have Hue up here, right? We have Dalat down here, and then we have Nha Trang down here. So Nha Trang, Dalat, Hue, Canto. Okay, that's a good area to see. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about let's define what these tier two cities mean, or excuse me, what these tiers cities mean, and then let's go into it. I'll take some of your questions. All right. So again, tier 3 and tier 4 are provide a lot of value. Let me give you some examples of those. Give me a minute here. So tier, bear with me. I just lost my place here. Okay. So cities, I would say, that are like tier 3 would consist of like the rural areas. And I'm sorry, I lost my place in my notes here. All right, whatever. So let me show you some of these breakdowns here, and I'll continue to get going. Forgive me. And so I would say tier 3 and tier 4 provide very good value. All right, I'll get you those in a minute. It's loading. So number 5, what you actually pay in rent, you'll learn from here. Paying rent, food, transport, lifestyle. Okay, if I'm picking something, if I'm picking an area, I'm definitely gonna pick a place that is conducive to my lifestyle. All right, and then I'll take your questions at the end. All right, so again, let's break this down. What tiers actually mean? Okay, this is basically for us. Again, Vietnam doesn't have an official tier system, but for me, looking in, tier 1 is international hubs. Okay, they offer you fast solutions, a better, a higher cost. Let me get this out of the way. Let me get that out of the way. So that's where all of us are used to. Is all of us international guests are used to having fast internet, reliable electricity, decent apartments or flats, so forth and so on. Good food, good cuisine. And so that's where we typically like to go. Tier 2, they're more of a regional hub. So they're best for value for most expats. All right. Again, those are the Hueys, the Cantos. I know a ton of people that probably like about a handful of folks that live in different areas all throughout Vietnam, and they're teaching, of course. And all of these areas outside of tier 1, there's major opportunity for English teaching. Okay, English teaching or any kind of business, tier 2, 3, and 4. Now those are going to be your gold mine. You're going to make less money, or you can make a lot more money. It just depends on where you go. Okay, because cost of living is drastically lower. Okay, so don't expect to get paid tier 1 money in tier 2, 3, or 4 cities. Okay, that's not going to happen unless you have a good employer. That's a side note. That's just a little nugget for you. Tier 3, provincial hubs. Yes, you're going to have cheap rent. Yes, you're going to have a lot fewer services there. All right. Think of it like you're in the boondocks. You're in East Kabuta, you know what, right? You're going to be far away from, international hospitals, if anything, if any around. You're going to be good. It's going to be scarce, man. It's going to be real scarce. And then, of course, it's not going to be as worse as the tier 4, right? Your small towns. That's going to be your lowest cost, and it's going to be the highest friction. And what I mean by highest friction is no one's going to speak English. You're going to be alone. I'll get into that. I'll get into that a little bit later when I talk about it and break it down. But for the most part, most expats go tier 1. Most expats stick around tier 2. Okay, tier 1 and tier 2. Now I've lived in a tier 3, and it was cool. It was cool. I got a house like this where I live now, but it was bare bones. I paid 5 million V&D, and that's about, back then it was like $250. Okay, and then now, but that was bare bones, bare bones. Okay, so, and there was nothing to do there. All right, we hung out. Like, I worked that was my very first job 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, 6 years, and they we us expats just hung out with each other. All right, let me show you where I lived. Let me show you that area just real quick, because it's a tier 3 city. So my very first job when I first decided to was right here. Thanh All right, this was a tier 3 city. Okay, since then it's grown quite a bit, but back then there was nothing, right? And it was so I used to drive 4.5 hours. This is a about a 5 hour motorbike ride from Hanoi to Thanh Hoa. And I did that every single Monday for like 6 months, literally over 6 months. Every Monday and then back every Tuesday to work here. Okay, I lived here. That was my very first place I lived after being a backpacker. And it was cool because the beach was right here. So I lived somewhere like right here, somewhere in this little area. And it was only 10 minutes from Samsung. It was cool, man. I actually I liked it, but there were no girls that at the time. All the females that wanted to talk were like older, like 40 and older. The younger 20s 30s they weren't there. They had kids. And so anyways, it was a cool time. It was the only time I lived near the ocean. It was really really nice, to be honest. And now it's gotten a little bit better there, but it's still like there's nothing here. All right, there's maybe bars, maybe like there was maybe like two, maybe one decent bar, um, and like no clubs, like Vietnamese clubs. And that's just, those are just karaoke bars where, you have, hot little waitresses and stuff come in and blah, 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 blah. You can use your imagination. But anyways, this area was cool. All right. I'm not knocking living in a tier 3 city at all. I would do it again now that I know more about Vietnam. Yeah. But again, some of the other you'll hear tier 2 or excuse me, tier 3 cities, Nam Ding, okay? These are areas that are up and coming, okay? Because Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Da Nang are so crowded, all right? So all these other locals are going to these outer areas and they're getting a lot of value. So there is a lot of value. Haiphong is another, it teeters between a tier 3 and a tier 2 city, okay? But it's a major developed city here, okay? No one really talks about that, okay? They only talk about the big three. So let me keep going, and I'll get to your questions here shortly. All right. Okay. So again, find value in the tier 2s and the tier 3s. Okay. Look there. The international hubs, Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, and Da Nang are cool. They're cool, but everyone's going there. If you can enjoy more of a local life, live in tier 2, live in tier 3. Okay. Tier 4 is a little bit too much for me. I don't know about you, but it's just too much for me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. All right. All right. So here's some examples of what tier 1 and tier 2 look like. All right. We already know the tier 1s. Tier 2, like I said, Dalat. These are some examples: Nha Trang, Hue, Can Tho, Vung Tau, and Haiphong. Okay. So Haiphong is a kind of a weird one. Okay. Can Tho and Haiphong are kind of weird because they both mirror each other kind of. Haiphong is more of a port. Can Tho is a port as well. They're both port cities, but and so they get a lot of their business from that, right? But their population is not so massive, okay? But that's why they're the hubs in their respective areas and their regions, okay? Tier 3 examples: Quy Nhon. I'm going to show you these on the map in a minute. Quy Nhon, Phan Tiet, or Moine. It's the same thing, right? I'll show you. And Buôn Ma Thuột. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I've been hearing it here. Okay. Buôn Ma Thuột. Okay. So let me show you. Let me show you on the map so you can have like a visual sense of what this is. Okay. So we already did Dalat. We already did Nha Trang, Hue, Can Tho, but I'm going to show you again. Vung Tau, I've shown you this before, but Vung Tau and Haiphong I just showed you. Okay, let me show you real quick. Okay, so So there's Haiphong. Okay, let me zoom in. Hanoi, Hanoi, Haiphong. Okay, you see how big it is? See how big it really is as a city? It's pretty big, you know? It sprawls, right? And then obviously everyone knows Halong Bay. Everyone knows Halong Bay, right? UNESCO World Heritage Site right here. Okay. But there was one I wanted to show you guys. That's China. No, it's not. Okay. Anyways, Haiphong. Okay. Then let's go down to, we said we got to go all the way across the country to Phan Thiet and Vung Tau. Okay. Ho Chi Minh. As you can see, follow my cursor. I'm all the way to the right. Okay. Follow my cursor. I'm right here in Phan Thiet. Right here. Okay. This is Phan Thiet and Mui Ne. Mui Ne. Okay, let me zoom in because the cool thing is from here you can see Phan Thiet, Mui Ne, and you can see Vung Tau. Okay, Vung Tau is the closest, let's say, beach, like real beach that you'll get from Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, so there's man-made beaches over here, down here in Ho Chi Minh City. There's man-made, but they're trash. It's cool to see, but meh. All right. But now, like if you followed the channel for any significant time, I made a video about and a live. I think I made a live as well. Talked about that they just made this area where my cursor is. They just made this area Ho Chi Minh City. All right. So basically, from here all the way around is Ho Chi Minh City now. Okay. So you can be, this is 2.5 hours away from Ho Chi Minh City, where I'm at right now. This right here. Okay. But it's considered Ho Chi Minh City. All right. They redistrict. So these are considered tier 3. They're chill. I've been to both. They're not developed as much, but they're developed, if that makes sense. Um, they have their own basically ecosystem there, basically where the locals know each other. Everybody pretty much kind of knows each other. Vung Tau is a little bit bigger. Phan Thiet is a little bit smaller. It's more of a local area. Phan Thiet is smaller than Vung Tau. If someone someone in the comments can correct me, Phan Thiet is smaller. Okay, and it's not even. It used to say, where's Moyne? Okay, so here's Moyne. See Moyne right here? So this basically is Moyne. This is basically Moyne. Okay, and then you see the city Phan Thiet. Okay, those are tier 3. Those are tier 3. Okay, Vung Tau. Vung Tau, it used to be called Baria, excuse me, Baria, Baria / Vung Tau, but now it's Ho Chi Minh City. We on the ground still call it Vung Tau and Baria, but still, it's now Ho Chi Minh City, which is weird. But Vung Tau is a really cool area. I really like it. It's a nice little beach town. Baria is the city area of this Vung Tau area. And then the beach side or the coast side of it is Vung Tau. Okay, so these two consist of a tier 2 city, 3 city, excuse me, tier 3 city. So this is an example of a tier 3 city. Okay, not a lot to do here. Chilling on the beach. You know how it is, like in these smaller beach town. They chill on the beach and relax. Okay, it's good for retirees, people who want a slower life. I'll get into that a little bit, but yeah. So these are the areas I'm talking about. All right, and then obviously you see Kanto over here to the left, and that is obviously that's the head or the hub of the Mekong Delta. This whole area, that's the hub, right? And if you've ever gone down there, you realize there's a ton of people there. There's way more people here than here and here combined. Okay, like just in a little area. So this is considered, Kanto is considered a tier 2 city, like legitimate tier 2 city, and then these are tier 3. Okay, So they're just so you can get a little example, just more of a chill. Okay. I'll show you guys again what a tier 4 city looks like, but let me get to your guys' comments so first, because you guys are building up on me. Let me remove. All right. Let's see. Okay. Philly Dom says, "What's up, Philly?" He says, "I'll be watching." What's up, brother? What's up, brother? I love it. My boy, thanks, Philly Dom. Appreciate you, my brother. John Golden says, "Hey, KT, watching from Issei City, Japan. What's up, brother? Much love to you. You know that. Thanks, brother." At EC says, "Fire." What's up, my brother? Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate the comment. My boy William says, "Going back to Vietnam in March. Do you do consultations over lunch or online only?" It depends on what you want. Generally, I'm more of a online guy just because I don't really have much time. I work a full-time job, and I have other stuff I'm doing. Um, and I'm about to get married, so I'm trying to do that as well. So it just depends on the schedule, man. I mean, I'm generally available during the weekends, but then that's when I do a bunch of my YouTube stuff. So uh, yeah, my schedule is kind of all over the place, but yeah, just online generally only. If you are in town and I can make some time for you, just hit me up and we can do it. Either way, just hit me up. All right. Hope I answered that for you, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. My boy, Luke, what's up, bro? What's up, dog? Where you been, man? Orlando, Florida. What's up, dog? Appreciate you. Hope you're doing good, man. Missing you, bro. Get over here, bro. Steve 14 says, "I'm viewing from Tan An, Kanto province. Have lived here on and off for 20 years. Nice, man. Well, you can definitely show me and tell us a little bit about what living in Kanto is. I've never lived there, so that's cool. Uh, thanks for viewing, man. Thanks for the comment. Appreciate it. Steve 14 says, uh, uh, Ra, I don't even know. Ra uh, is a very nice city town on south coast of Vietnam. By the way, the name of the province is pronounced Ga Tu. Okay, Ganto, Ganto. Okay, all right, cool, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. At AVL69 says, "What's up, KT? I hope I did not miss much. Salute, brother. Salute to you, my brother. I appreciate you. You're always great, man." John Golden says, "I wouldn't mind the older Vietnamese woman after being acclimated to the environment with steady income. Hopefully, Ho Chi Minh has a similar audience of ladies." Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. You definitely, um, I'll put it, I'm trying to choose my words carefully. So you can find what you're looking for, is what I want to say. All right, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Of Philippines in full effect says, "Salute to you, my brother. Happy New Year, KT, and Happy New Year to everybody. If I didn't say that in the beginning, Happy New Year. Will arrive in Ho Chi Minh in 2 weeks or sooner. Looking forward to the new life. Let's go. Let's go, baby. I love it. Can't wait to meet you, bro. Thanks for the comment, man. And you always tuning in. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you." William says, "Cool, appreciate it. I got you, my brother. Hit me up, brother." All right. And Boogie Yugi Bug says, "Hello, girl. How you doing, bro? What's good? I can't hear you no more. Just got on. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Just been busy. Been busy. The new year, but I miss you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Love. Salute to you. You're a real one. Appreciate you." All right, that seems like it. I got everybody. Let me bookmark you. Okay, so let's get into it. So again, just to show you guys the different city tiers of again, in the beginning of this live, I said that Vietnam does not have an official city tiers. So these are mine. Okay, these are what I made up. Okay. Um, all right, so tier 3, let's get into it. Bear with me. Where am I? Here. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to go to tier one, tier two. That's what I want. But let's talk about your tier three, tier four real quick. Obviously, tier three, your provincial hubs, they're going to give you your cheaper rent. They're going to be real city services. It's going to be, you're going to feel like your tier three is going to be more like your a neighborhood. You know, I mean, I don't know how to even put it. Like a city in the U.S. is too big, but like a city within a city, the county, I guess you could say, is a county. I guess what you could say. So the county is going to be more like a provincial, okay, and then the smaller towns is going to be more like your rural areas, tier four, okay. So you're going to get smaller. It's going to be the smaller expat scene in your tier three. I'm telling you, there was like only expats that were in the tier three when I lived there were only the ones that worked with me, and the other, there was not many English centers in the tier three, so just maybe 20 to 50 expats, and we were spread all throughout like this little city, less than 50, easy in the whole tier three, less than 50, crazy. All right, you're gonna have limited international options. Understand that your tier three cities, you're gonna have a lot less of everything. It's gonna be, you're gonna enjoy quieter scenes. You're gonna enjoy less traffic. Generally, uh, generally cleaner air. Generally, it just depends on where you're at. Um, but things are gonna be more extremely local. Extremely local. All right. If you're okay with being by yourself and just hanging out with like a smaller group, um, tier three is going to be great for you. All right. So generally, you're going to have to travel to a tier one city. If you have a tier two city near you, you're probably going to have to travel to that to get like your international kind of cuisine, which is kind of sucks because, again, this is not just 30 minutes away where you can just take a car. Remember, you're a foreigner, you don't have a car, you have a motorbike. So you have to understand that, add an hour, for your motorbike, add an hour. All right. Your tier four, those are going to be your small rural areas, right? That's obviously going to be your lowest cost. Obviously. The biggest thing is that there's not going to be a lot of youth. Now, there was nobody in the tier three. There was no international anything really in the tier three other than like maybe a McDonald's, maybe one Starbucks, maybe, I think I maybe saw like a KFC, maybe a Burger King, and that's it. Okay. And then everything else is local. Now you can imagine that's in the tier three. In a tier four, it's going to be non-existent or half of that. Like maybe you'll have a Starbucks, maybe. All right. Everything local. Generally, tier fours, everything is local. And some like that, some like that. But it's going to be your most affordable areas. You're definitely going to have a high friction of language. No one's going to speak English there, like nobody, right? Unless they're the wealthy family there that had the kid that came back and just trying to help their village and whatnot. But generally, probably not, because they're all going to be over here in the bigger cities trying to make money to send back there. It's going to be all local. All right. So think about it. There's going to be no, all the younger people are going to get out of these areas, generally tier fours. They don't want to be there. They want to be in the bigger cities. And so, yes, they would love to stay in their hometowns, but they need more development, more opportunity. This is for the locals. For us, the tier four is not really a good option unless you're married. Unless you're married to someone who's from a tier four city, and you're like, okay, well, let's go see your family. But there's opportunity there, but there's no tourism, right? So you gotta balance these and weigh these out, right? This is why so many people don't go and live in these tier 3 and 4 cities, because there's nothing there. Or they'll go like I did and tried it out for 6 months, and it's like, bump this, I'm gone. I'm gonna go. I need more action. I need more. It was nice, don't get me wrong, but I need more, right? Obviously, you're gonna have less internationals in tier 4. You're gonna have a smaller dating pool, all right, slash friend pool. Now, when I lived in the tier 3, I didn't really hang out like that. Like, really, it was just work, um, and maybe go out with the boys, and go to the same bar, same different stuff, but just see the same people all the time. Work with them, party with them, work with them, party with them. They were decent people. I'm not gonna say they were wrong, they were bad, but they were decent people. All right, but yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Um, and then obviously you got to make so when I talk about the healthcare plus the paperwork, understand that you're in Vietnam. They're not like if you live in these tier 3 and tier 4 cities and tier 2, they're completely different. Like their governance is completely different than it is in the tier 1. Now, a lot of us foreigners like to complain about the tier 1 system and how it's backwards and slow and blah, 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 right, etc. But you get into these tier 2 cities, man, and this is where you really find out how the country is. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm going to say. Okay, the tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 governance is slow and backwards, way more backwards. And but they do some things better than the bigger cities, because the bigger cities have too many people and they just don't have the resources to do it. But in the tier 2, 3, and 4, they actually will check up on you. They'll make sure that, I'm talking about like the police, I'm talking about the government. They'll come and like make sure they'll register you. They'll do different benefits that you normally wouldn't get in the bigger cities. So there again, there's a trade-off. And I just want you guys to understand that the difference between the tier 1 city, people will generally leave you alone. Okay. Tier 2, kind of similar. It's kind of like a hybrid 50-50 of governance I'm just speaking on and referring to. They'll leave you alone depending on where you live, and they'll keep up with you. If you go further, tier 3, tier 4, and all this stuff, they're going to be on top of their stuff generally, and be ready to give up some coffee money. Okay, that's all I'm going to say with that. Is tier 2, 3, 4. How do I want to say this? It's very there's trade-offs. Okay, I'll just put it that way. If you scratch what I'm getting, then we'll put it that way. Just be prepared in the tier 3, 4 to come up with coffee money more, because nobody's really looking at them. So and it's smaller, and they don't really want you there. So you got to pay for it. But you just heard that from me. Okay. If you want a community, if you want people to hang out with, if you want to be with other expats and international guests, then you definitely need to stay away from tier 4. Straight up. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tier 4, you're only gonna hang out with a bunch of, if you're gonna hang out with anyone at all. Generally, what I've seen, tier 4 are for the teachers and stuff, because that's what I'm in, and I'm only referring to teaching. Is that I've seen the tier 4 have been the ones that work illegally. There's behind the scenes, there's a lot of turnover, a lot of turmoil. So tier 4s, although it's lower cost, tier 3, although it's lower cost, there's a lot of trade-offs that you're probably going to end up coming back to tier 1 and 2. But I just want you guys to understand the difference, and that there's something there to that. Okay. All right. So let's break down tier 1. All right. let's get into tier one, and let's talk about, because everyone wants to go to tier one. Everyone's like, I need more opportunity, right? So Ho Chi Minh City, obviously Ho Chi Minh City is so tier one. Let's break down. Ho Chi Minh City is the entertainment and financial hub of Vietnam, hands down. Entertainment, financial. Okay. So when we talk about it, it's the one that obviously here in this country gives you the most opportunity, right? It is the one that has the biggest expat ecosystem, and you can make the most money here. All right. But the highest convenience is going to be that you have all your services. There's a bigger expat community. You can get a job here. You can make money here as long as you're legal, and you can have freedom. People leave you alone in Ho Chi Minh City, right? Because everyone's chasing something. Everyone is looking to better their life for the most part, or just chill. Ho Chi Minh City is definitely better equipped for international guests. They have so many services here, so much cuisine. I mean, just from all over the world. So I do love living here more than I do love living in Hanoi. Okay. And transitioning into Hanoi, I lived there for 3 years, so I know Hanoi pretty well. Hanoi is great, man. However, the reason why I left Hanoi was because of the air pollution. Air pollution is trash. It's trash. 3 years of Hanoi's air pollution is just it's too much, man. Like I really wish they could figure it out up there, because I loved it. It was cool. It's a slower pace of life. It's the capital. They are on top of their paperwork there for sure. I never really got screwed over on paperwork or any of that stuff up in the north. I got to put it out there. I never got screwed over. Okay. It was more in the south. Go figure, right? Uh, there is in Hanoi a strong job market. Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, strong job markets, no problem. Okay, there's a ton of people there from all over the world, so it is the cultural capital, like straight up. All right, rent is going to be, and cost of living, from what I've realized, is less in Hanoi than it is here in Ho Chi Minh City. Like for real, it's kind of crazy, but um, Hanoi is creeping up there. Okay, Ho Chi Minh City is the most expensive area in Vietnam, hands down. Hanoi is second because it's the second biggest, but the pollution is terrible there. The noise is trash. The noise pollution, and the wages were good. The wages were all right. They were okay. They were decent. All right, and then the rent's less there, of course. Da Nang that's like the big here, us the locals and us expats. We are like, Da Nang is like the vacation spot. Okay, so that's where we go vacation. It's like, let's go to Da Nang, right? So Da Nang is like that. It's like that, and I understand why everyone's flocking to Da Nang, because it's like that. But the infrastructure is not there. It's not Ho Chi Minh City, and the infrastructure is not Hanoi. So there's not a lot of jobs. There's scarcity of jobs in Da Nang for foreigners. All right, that's why they're trying to make it the digital nomad hub of Vietnam. Okay, there's not a lot of teaching jobs there, and there's a lot of the weather situation is trash there, right? It's beautiful. It's beautiful most of the year, but then you have like 3 months, 4 months of like the worst weather you could get. All right. So, right, Hanoi, Hanoi, you have to deal with some weather. Saigon, you don't have to deal with that much. Okay. Again, there's a smaller opportunity in Da Nang, right? It's growing with international guests and all that stuff. It definitely is the best value of the three cities as far as rent and as far as cost of living. It is absolutely killer there. Okay, straight up. Now all the international guests, it's creeping up, and the locals are not having a good time. But before, just a year ago, 2 years ago, it was amazing. The value that you could get in Da Nang, you could still get it now, but it's 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 starting to creep back a little bit. All right, so that's why I'm saying, and I'm doing this live, and I'm gonna do another video about it, a separate video about tiers and the tier fours and all this stuff. But I I can see the development happening in the tier threes and fours, and in the twos that can bring people to those tier twos, tier three, and tier four cities because they're trying to make it better. They really are trying to make it better. All right. So Ho Chi Minh City is the best city if you want opportunity. Hanoi is the best city if you want some quiet, a stable job market, and if you love culture. Okay, like the North is amazing for that. I'd still be up there, to be honest. Um, if it wasn't for that damn air pollution, man. And then Da Nang is the lifestyle city. All right, like straight up, it is. Yeah, let's hang out, let's chill. We're on vacation. All right. So that's the difference between them. Okay. Now, as far as the tier two, let's break down the tier two. This is where people, for the most part, can either save money or they can spend like, it's cheap, it's fine. But for the most part, if you're going to live in a tier two city, I would absolutely say you could save money, tons. But just be careful because you're isolated for the most part in a tier two city. Okay, so for example, Dalat, right? So again, I showed you where Dalat was. Dalat is cool. It's a mountainous area. Again, let me go back. Uh, Dalat. So I'm gonna go back to Dalat. We're talking about right here. Okay, right here in Dalat. Dalat is a mountainous area. Okay, and so it's where a lot of the retirees, the Vietnamese retirees, like the good old boys, that's where they retire. Like the generals and the people in government, that's kind of where they retire. At least they have a house there. Okay, so the reason why is because it's so nice there. It's really nice. It's it's like its own microcosm in the South. Okay, it's like its own little ecosystem. Um, yeah, it's cool because but it's it's so far away from everything, right? So you got to go far for different international delicacies, let's just say. All right. um I would say that, yeah, it's quiet, it's super quiet, and that's what a lot of people like. It's cold, super cold up there. All right. So in the north, the north gets cold, but it doesn't get like the lot cold. Okay. Nowhere in the south, nowhere really in the central, for the most part, is where it gets as cold as the lot. Okay, at night. Sapa in the north gets cold, and that's basically it. Those two areas, Dalat and Sapa, are the only ones that can produce snow in Vietnam. Okay, or have produced. Okay, Dalat can snow in the south, which is like, it's like, and when you go there, you realize, oh, yeah, it's cold up here, man. We're high in the mountains. But again, the housing quality there is amazing, but it's gonna cost you a lot more money because you're in a mountain, like a mountain resort town. Okay, if I could put it anywhere, like Big Bear Lake. Let's just put it that way. In California, Big Bear. All right, Nha Trang. Again, Nha Trang is the beach area. Okay, I showed you. It's just right across from the lot, about 2 hours over the mountain. Okay, east. And so now Nha Trang is a weird area. Okay, let me show you. Let me get back to that. Nha Trang here is a weird area because again, it's right over the mountain. Here's the lot, right over the mountain, Nha Trang. It's amazing. Remember, It's they reference it, Miami of Vietnam. Okay, it's cool, but it's like it's overrun by Russians. I've heard by Russians. A lot of stuff's in Russian there, Koreans, Chinese. It's basically being overrun by foreigners. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. And so this whole thing right here, man, this is all in the Chang, all in the Chang. And I'm not sure if this is part of the Chang, but all this is in the Chang right here. And from what I've heard, the prices are pretty tough up there, pretty high. So yeah, just be careful. Okay, this is becoming fast Russian area, from what I've been hearing. All right. So let's keep it rolling. So forgive me. So what I mean by that is that the tourism prices and the prices of the apartments, because again, it's not Da Nang, it's smaller than Da Nang, and so there's going to be less good affordable rentals than in Da Nang. Okay. So when that happens, that means that the prices are going to be higher. All right. So Nha Trang is completely all tourism, all tourism. Okay. So if you're looking for a good deal, yes, it's a tier two city, but it is a tourist trap, this city, Nha Trang. I'm sure you can find good deals. I'm sure you can find some good deals. Hue, again, number three, Hue. This is Hue is the old capital, like I told you before. It's ultra affordable because it is in the central. Let me show you. It is so we're in the south. This is the south, right? We're gonna go to the central right here. Okay. So there's Da Nang, and then Hue is just right there. Okay, that's probably like a 2 hour drive. 2 hour drive. So that's the cool thing about Hue is that it's where it's situated. It's cool because it's on the coast. It's the old capital, right? And as you can tell, you can see the layout of the old capital. Look at this thing. Look at that. That's so cool, right? So the citadel is right here. And this is the old castle or like the old city, basically. Look how it's situated, right? But again, um, this area doesn't have a lot of tourism that comes through. Okay, so you're gonna be able to find some awesome deals here. I don't necessarily know how what an apartment in Hue looks like, but they're probably pretty old and they're probably pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. Either they're pretty nice or they're like trash. So I don't know. This area, I have never been to Hue. Never been. I need to go check it out with my lady. But yeah, I think Hue is a nice area. And again, this is a tier two city. Okay, the old capital. If I were you, I would absolutely make it my purpose to come and check out this place. Okay, and if you're in Da Nang, just take a tour to Hue. If you need that, I can help you with that. But just take a tour, all right, and rent a little van, VIP, boom, take you 2 hours. They'll do a whole little walkthrough tour of Hawaii and take a look. But yeah, all these little tiny, see all these little, see where my cursor is going? All these little tiny areas. These are tier four. These are tier four cities. Look at that. You want to live in something like that? Like this. Look at this. This is a tier four city, if it is at all. Okay. This is a good example of a tier four city. All right. But anyways, yeah, amazing location, but there's nothing there, right? And you're again, look how far you're away from Hue. All right. So check this out. Hue is cool because it's in a nice little area where you could just hop over to Da Nang and then you have Hue An right there. So that's cool. I like it. You're gonna find a lot. It's gonna be a lot more affordable here than it will be what we than the Chang for sure, hands down. And Hue has really good food, and the people there, they're going to be. It's a mix between the north and south, and the central people. Generally, the central people are their own like people, really, and they speak a Vietnamese dialect. They still speak Vietnamese, but even the north and south locals say they can't really understand central folk, central folks. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah. The food there, I went to Vin. It's just a little bit further up. Their food there was amazing. I thought it tastes cleaner. I'm not gonna lie, and cleaner than like Hanoi at the time when I was living there. So yeah, I'll get to your guys' comments in a second. I see you. So yeah, it's gonna be ultra affordable. Okay. Again, tier two. Look at the difference between these tier two cities, right? And then Canto is the Mekong hub. Obviously, it's going to be a total local feel. It's going to be definitely fewer expats and fewer expat services. Okay, you're not going to have as many um, international cuisines, international delicacies, international anything really there. Okay. You have to be okay with having local, eating local, being local down there. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like that, but I need a little bit more international stuff. So look at the difference between these tier two. Okay. Dalat, cool mountain area. It's nice. It's probably gonna be a little bit more in the middle range, price range, to more of the higher range for Dalat if you're gonna stay. Nha Trang, same. Yeah, I'll say same. You'll see but the difference between that is you'll see a lot more international guests here. Okay, social should be all right. Hue is going to be complete opposite, and Kanto going to be complete opposite of Dalat and the Chang. Again, this is why it's important that you do your research on these different tier cities, because once you get past tier one cities, then really that's where I say that's where the bread and butter is at. Is that's where you can find, if you're cool with like not having a lot of the international delicacies, then I would definitely go with a tier two city to save some bread. But yeah. All right. So what you actually will pay, and these are the different categories. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Rent, that's going to be the biggest gap. That's going to be the biggest gap between a tier one and tier four. You could pay anywhere between and I'll get into it, but you could pay anywhere from 1,000 USD, $1,000, $2,000 USD. Like seriously, 2,000 here in Ho Chi Minh City for an apartment, 2,500 easy USD. You would never pay that in a tier 2, 3, or 4 city. Now I could be wrong. I've never ever even heard of um, $1,000 place in a tier 2, 3, or 4 city. I could be wrong. Maybe one of you guys live in there. I'm not sure, but food is going to be the biggest difference between a tier 1, 2, 3, and a 4. All right. Obviously, tier 1, you're going to have everything. Tier 2, you might have everything. It just depends on where you live, right? But for the most part, you're going to just eat local. Okay, so you want to save some money. You want to not have to worry about your rent, your electricity, any of that stuff. I know it sounds weird, but here in Vietnam, but people do that. They overspend. They overspend every month. They do it here. Okay, I know many expats who spend their money, and they really spend most of their money on the first two, rent and food. and then drinks, right? That's why I stopped drinking, because I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm spending too much money on here, and I don't even like drinking. I was like, yeah, I can screw that. Save so much money, night and day, night and day. So if you can come here, drink a little bit, and you'd be all right. But this is a drinking culture, so let's call a spade a spade. You're gonna go out. If you're gonna go out, you're gonna drink a lot. Okay, simple as that. You're just gonna drink a lot. You're gonna party. They're gonna encourage you to drink more, and then next thing you know, you're overspending. Okay, your rent. You don't have to spend a ton of money on rent. Okay, you really don't. All right. Most of us want some little luxuries. Service apartment, a cleaner, um, whatever. Okay, a pool, a gym, whatever you want, you can have here. All right. But the biggest thing that you can cut costs and you can save is your food. Okay. I understand a lot of us don't want to just eat like a local. We didn't move to Vietnam just to eat like a local, but and that's to each his own. I'm never gonna knock a man or woman that has their preferences. But if you can eat local, I promise you, there's so much stuff. Vegetarian. I'm coming across so many vegetarian spots. I'm not even vegetarian, but I'm eating at them, and they're really affordable, and they're so good. I didn't even know. Didn't even know. Didn't even know. But if you eat Western all the time, you're going to spend a lot of money. FYI. You're just going to spend a ton of money. Okay. If you eat local and you just sprinkle just a little bit of local cuisine into your diet, and maybe not eat Western every day, but if you just eat Western 3 times a week instead of 10 times a week, let's just say, you're going to save a ton of money here. Okay. Your transport, it just depends. If you want to drive, you want to rent a motorbike, it's still better than using Grab, in my opinion, all the time. Okay. You can have more freedom than wasting, your money on Grab. That's the Uber, like Uber ride or whatever. That's the equivalent here. So I know a ton of foreigners who don't drive. I know a ton of foreigners who don't drive, and I know that they take cars. They take Uber, Grab cars. They take a ton of motorbike taxis every month. And what they say is that they're spending more than they would have if they just rented a bike for a month. They're spending way more than that, right? So again, if you're like more of a homebody, if you like to walk, cool. Pick a good area in your like neighborhood, in your city that you're gonna live, and walk, enjoy, right? This is why it's so important to pick the right city, right? Everyone just goes to the Da Nangs, the Hanois, and the Ho Chi Minh cities, but Vietnam has so much more to offer you, like so much more. All right. And then again, depending on where you live, all of this will drastically decrease, or it'll drastically increase depending on where you live. Okay. Utilities and internet, they're usually stable. Okay. That was the biggest thing for me when I first, what I noticed when I first arrived in Vietnam was like 6 years ago was, damn, the internet's fast. I didn't realize that. The internet was super fast, and there were no brownouts or blackouts or none of that stuff. So I was like, okay, all right, you guys are stable. This is nice. Infrastructure is nice. Okay. So again, depending on where you live, utilities and internet can be included in the rent. Generally, the bigger tier 1 cities, they're going to be separate, and they're going to be a lot more expensive, right? Because they're trying to make that bread. Let's call it spade a spade. That's fine, nothing wrong with it, but it's going to be way more than if you live in a tier 2, tier 3, or tier 4 city. Okay. Again, mind you, tier 3 and 4, their stability with their internet could be shaky. Could be shaky. Tier 2 as well, it could be shaky. All right. Lifestyle, if you want gyms, nightlife, imported goods, tier one, ding. Tier two, 50-50. Depends on where you live, but it's okay, generally. Tier three, four, they're going to have local gyms. They're going to have local nightlife. They're not going to have, they're going to have few, if any, imported goods. And it just really depends on um, who's, I don't know, what city you live in, you know? And then the biggest one on this whole list is the last one, paperwork friction. Man, um, of course, it's better if you have a Vietnamese partner, whether it's, I don't know your preference, whether it's a man or woman. I'm just going to be gender neutral. Okay, man or woman. If you Vietnamese local, it helps so much. It just helps so much because the Vietnamese, they talk amongst each other, amongst themselves, and they'll be like, it's cool. All right, they understand each other. Boom, right? Now, no one ever told me that it matters if you date a Vietnamese North, if you date a Central, or if you date a Southern Vietnamese girl or man. It matters to them. Now, you're not going to hear this on YouTube, but Vietnamese people, they discriminate against each other based on that. Like, where are you from? Right? So when they ask us where we're from, it's kind of like the same, like, where are you from? So that they can kind of get an idea of what you might, it'll be their idea of what they think that country's people are, intelligent or not, or whatever, right? Their impression. But um, they think about each other the same way. So it's much easier if you're in the north. Let me give you an example. If you're in the north and you're dating a north girl and she speaks the north dialect, the north, she's north people, so they can understand each other, right? Generally they won't try to f you over if you're similar, but where it gets a little bit wonky, and what I think is kind of weird is that if you're dating a north person and we're in the south, then the southern people try to get over on you, over on her or him, right? I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I ain't got nothing to do with that. We don't have anything to do with that, right? But that's what you have to deal with. So when you go through paperwork, you see this as a foreigner, you're like, huh. And since I've been here long enough, I understand that. I understand that turmoil. And so I'm like, huh, why? And so I'll ask my lady, like, why did they do this? And why did they do that? And what? And she's like, I don't know. But in the North, never happened. Never. So just I'm sprinkling little nuggets here for you guys. And I hope you guys are picking up on what I'm dropping off throughout this whole live. This is what I do in all of my lives, right? Here, you're going to get the real deal. Straight up. I know a lot of people say that, but a lot of people are scared to say whatever they want to say. But, um, you know, F it, right? So, paperwork, you live in a tier one, it's going to vary. This is a lot of the frustrations of us locals, excuse me, of us expats, is that we're like, I go up to Hanoi, there's no paperwork issues. I go to the central, there's no paperwork issues. Meaning, and I go to the south, hella paperwork issues. So you have to understand that the north, they're tight with their paperwork, meaning that they won't try to screw you over on the paperwork because that's the face of Vietnam, right? That's the capital, right? They don't want to, they save face big time over up there, but they do the right thing, generally speaking. They do the right thing. In the South, it's like the West, bro. Like they're like, who cares? The further away you are from the face can't see what the rest of the body's doing, right? So, um, all that to say this: pick a good city, Paperwork will be either good or it'll be fast. Your partner will take care of that stuff. If you don't have a partner, good luck. Good luck. I did it, and it was cool. It was fine. Just get a local to help you. Maybe your landlord, someone that you're talking to there in that city. If you're fresh to Vietnam and you're in those little smaller cities, talk to your coworkers, find out who they use. These are the kind of things that you would say. Get referrals. If you can get a referral, I would go with them. Okay. Don't just go with someone fresh, an agent, landlord, um, officer, or someone. I don't know. Don't just go fresh. Don't just go blind and trust anybody. You must know people. Okay. And if you don't know anybody, start asking questions with your coworkers. If you're just a guest and you're just fresh and you're not working yet, then talk to your landlord. Start walking around. If you start to see other expats in those cities, tier 2, 3, or 4, stop them, talk to them, have a coffee with them, say, hey, I'm new to the area. I would love to chat with you for a little bit about this area. Okay. Don't be afraid here. I mean, it's cool, man. It's really cool here. All right. I got cut off. So basically, I actually bear with me. Let me update this because I actually remove this. Let me get to your comments here. 1 second. Why? Yes. Okay, it's updating. So let me go ahead and get your comments. My guy, Army Guy Travel says, "What's up, bro? What's up, brother? Salute to you, my man. Love, man, love. Thanks for the comment, my brother. At Ertana 7609 says Nha Trang is killer. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I heard that Nha Trang is killer. It's cool, but again, I heard that it was just too many foreigners. So bear with me. Let me go here. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. All right. So let me remove it. Sorry about that. Yeah. So that's what I've heard. I heard Nha Trang was cool, but again, there was just too many Russians there. I heard. Again, these are from locals, and these are most locals. And a lot of the travelers that have contacted me said the same thing. And they said that things were in Chinese in Nha Trang. You don't see this anywhere else. In Nha Trang, and there was Russian signs everywhere. Okay, so you don't see that anywhere in Vietnam other than that area, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. ABL says Phan Thiet looks like a good spot, not too far from the city, and it looks to have a beach. Yeah, Phan Thiet is basically a beach, but that's the Moi Ne side. Again, let's go. Let's get out of this. And again, it's down here. Okay, so the Phan Thiet side is cool, but here I've been here. So this side is it's okay. Like this side right here is more like there's a ton of boats and stuff out here. Ton of boats. And it's not the best beach here. The best beach is over here in Moi Ne. Okay. The best beaches are over here. Here, that's more of like the bay, like coast. You know what I'm saying? Boats and everything hang out here. You're gonna have to drive a little bit, and this is probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes, less than from here to here. Maybe like 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Phan Thiet's cool. There's nothing there, though, man. I mean, really, there's not a lot going on over there. But yeah, appreciate it, brother. Thank you for that. Ertana says Nha Trang is cheaper than Da Nang. Yes, it is. Yeah, it definitely is. It's smaller. But again, in areas where you're going to, in areas in the Chang, from what I've heard, and I've looked at places in the Chang, um, the coastal places are all international. They're all taken up basically. So those are going to be probably more expensive, if not equal to Da Nang. Okay, if the further inland you go, I'm assuming that it's going to be cheaper. Okay, I think, I think. All right. Thanks for time. I appreciate you. Boogie Yugi Yugi says, "Veggie life saved my life." Okay. Do tell us a little bit more, please. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. AVL says, "Thanks for the update." Yeah, all good, brother, all good. Uh, AVL says, "I did not want to be far from the city. I did not want to be far from the city." Yes, yeah, I get it, and that's the reason for this. I Again, this is part of the reason is I want you guys to understand that it's not just about tier one cities. Right? All the videos you see on YouTube are all tier one for the most part. 95% of the videos that you see is going to be either a traveler or an expat that's going to be in one of the tier one cities. Okay. You don't see a bunch of videos about tier two, tier three, tier four if they're not from locals talking about the city, okay, or the province. Not a lot of English people are talking about tier two, three, or four cities. Yes, some tier two cities people talk about, but there's a lot of them here. Okay, but yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're not too far from the city. Okay, you have to understand Vietnam is still a developing country, still a developing country, and so what's developing in one country is completely different here. Okay, you a lot of if you're trying to hide, tier four city is going to be cool for you, but you won't be able to hide because everyone's going to be like, hello, 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 can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? And you're like, you're the most famous foreigner there because you're the only one. All right. So yeah, just be careful. All right? That's why a lot of us stay in the tier ones because we just don't want to be bothered. It's cool to live. It's cool to be a little celebrity. When you've done it more than once, twice, 20 times, um, and even if you're a traveler and you understand, like you've gone through these smaller areas, you've eaten lunch there, and you can't eat lunch because everyone's trying to take a picture with you. Hello, hello, hi, 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 hi. And you're like, and when you live there, it's the same thing, right? So, because again, you're the only foreigner that they've probably seen all year. We don't think about this, man, but there's millions of people in this country that have never seen a foreigner up close, never touched their hand, never talked to a foreigner. There are millions, there are tens of millions of people in this country right now, right as we're talking right now, that have never even face to face seen a foreigner in 2025. Only on their phone, only on the computer. So yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you have to understand when you are living in one of these tier three, tier four cities, uh, even tier two, but tier three and tier four because they've never seen you before. That's cool for 3 months, and then if you're like living there for a year, you signed a year contract, and you're like, bruh, I'm good with this, man. I want to go back to being anonymous. So, all right. Thank you guys for the comments. I'll come back to you. So let's get into it, man. So the rent reality, okay? Tier one obviously is going to be the most expensive, obviously, right? Tier one and the big three, your local rent's going to cost you anywhere from studio 1 bedroom, and then your prime expat zones or areas. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in the tier 1, right? I pay in the middle. I pay in between the middle. Okay. I pay. I don't pay the local. I have a house though. I rent a house, 2-bedroom house, 4-story. You guys saw it in the video that's on that I just dropped. Yeah, that's what is this? We're paying a total of 11 million. Yeah, 11 million. So that V&D, what is that? 400, like 400 and maybe 400 bucks. I'm sorry. Let me see. How come I don't know that? It's a holiday, okay. Let me put that in there. Let me see. 11 million. Forgive me, guys. Yeah, it's not even 400 bucks. 11 million. Yeah, okay. It's $418. Okay, $418 I pay. All right, that's for a house. Okay, I know a lot of people were paying that for a studio. You can get a local studio here in the big three. All right, tier 1. I'm just gonna call them the big three. All right, tier 1 cities. You can definitely get a studio for 200 USD. All these are USD prices. 200 to 350. Understand that's going to be a little bit outside of the city. Okay, let me show you. Remove. Let's go. Let's go to Ho Chi Minh. All right, so you can find. So here's the center. Here's the center of the city. If you can see my cursor, this is right here. This is the center of the city. Okay, here that's going to be super expensive. For 200 to 350 USD, you can find a spot here, a studio for sure, and a 1-bedroom. Okay. I live in this area now. Before, I lived in this area. Okay. And that, you can find Ho Chi Minh's different, man, because you can find it can be expensive if you live out here in the boondocks. I mean, it's not really the boondocks. This is still considered the city. Obviously, this is considered the city. City's massive. Okay? It sprawls out. Okay, but if you're gonna get like a 200 to 350, generally speaking, it's gonna be out in this area. It's gonna be out around this area. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing this, I'm not talking about everything inside. You can get stuff, everything inside. I'm literally talking about the surrounding area. The surrounding area. Exactly where my cursor is going is where you're going to find those 200, 250, 300 USD, 350. Okay. And then you're going to have to drive in. Okay. You can find some of those studio apartments within the center, but it's going to be trash. Just expect it. Okay. Expect it. You're not going to get a really decent apartment for $200 USD or 350 USD in the center. It's just not going to happen. Now, with this, with our place, it's because I know people, locals, that I found this, that me and my wife found this. If you know people, it's possible. I'm just saying. But you as a newbie, you're never gonna find a place like this. Never. Just never gonna happen. This is why I have a relocation business here. To help you save money. 1, get a better place. 2, right? The smart ones take me up on it, and then they win. The hard-headed ones, you guys are gonna have to go through it. But I'm telling you, I'm being honest. I'm just being honest. You're gonna find out and about here, all this around here. I'm not talking about Tao Dien. I'm talking about around Tao Dien. Okay, down in here, D2, right? D2 is huge. Okay, you can find a good little spot, but back out in this little area right here. Okay, but around it, yeah, 200, 300, one bedroom, no problem. Okay, there's exceptions to the rule, but generally it's going to be around here. You're going to find, okay, and they're going to be really really tiny, and they're going to be not internationally approved. Basically, you're not going to like it. Okay, so that's that. Just keeping it a bone with you. Just keeping it a bone with you. All right. Um, modern bedroom, a modern one bedroom in the tier one, 350 to 700. Yep. Yeah, that sounds about right. You can find houses here too, guys. Just FYI. Um, yeah, I was pretty surprised to see how many homes, like actual homes that I'm living in right now, are empty. You guys are paying more than I pay now as a guest. You guys as a guest than I would ever pay. I'm seeing 14, 15, 16, 19 million that you guys are paying for a studio or one bedroom in Ho Chi Minh, in Hanoi, even in Da Nang. Not necessarily in Da Nang, but in the big two basically. All right, prime expat zone 700 to 1200. That is realistic. Okay, it can go over 1200. So tier two, tier three. This is where you're going to get most of the value. Again, tier two, tier three, you can get a local studio for 100 bucks. Let's call it $100, okay, to 250. Now these are going to be different because in your two bedroom, in your tier two and tier three cities, you're going to have more of the local style apartments. They're not going to offer you the services. Um, they're just not going to. So um, be prepared for that. Okay, you're gonna spend even in these tier two, tier three, even if some of them, even if you spend 500 USD in these tier two, three cities, you're still gonna get less of a value there than you would here in Ho Chi Minh City if you spent that same 500. Just saying. I'm just saying. But some of these places can be very nice, man. A modern one bedroom in a two tier three. This is where you can save money. I'm trying to tell you, generally speaking, in a tier two, tier three city, you are going to spend way less than in a tier one. Generally speaking, even at the very tip top of properties, if they're available, rent right? In those tier two, tier three, those will have some services for you. Okay, they should at least. Generally speaking, in those tier two, three, very top, let's say you pay 800 USD in a tier two, tier three, it should be like 5, 10 star. It should be 10 star, basically. I know that doesn't exist. I know. But yeah. So, but don't expect it because again, this is Vietnam and it's still developing, right? There are going to be places in tier two, tier three that are going to be way nicer than tier one, right? And it could potentially be less. I know Vietnam's it's all over the place, man. So generally, but we're just going to talk generally speaking. Generally, tier one's going to have the best apartments. Tier two and three are going to have not, they're going to, it's going to be shaky, 50-50. Okay. Here in Vietnam, you still got to worry about plumbing as well. So just be mindful. And again, there's going to be in all these areas you have your tourist pockets where it's going to be the money where the money lives, the local money, and international guests money where they live. Most of these areas have that. Okay, in the tier threes and fours, probably it's more spread around. Okay, you'll be able to see it. Okay, so realistically, if you're gonna live like a local, which me and my wife, we absolutely, and I see a comment here that I'm gonna get to you in a minute about referring to that. So I got you. The monthly budget example, I would absolutely say that it is realistic for you to save. Let's say you have a pension of 2,500 pension, and you live in a tier two city, and you have 2,500. You could save about $1,000, $1,500 if you decide to live in a tier two versus a tier one city. Just saying. So out of you could spend less than $1,000 in a tier two, tier three city. You could spend less than 500 and be straight. And that could include rent. It could just $1,000 budget. That could include your rent. It will include your rent and anything you want to do for 30 days. Like straight up, $1,000. Straight up. You wouldn't even spend $1,000 you shouldn't spend $1,000 in a tier three or four city. Tier two, you will spend $1,000. You could. Just depends on what your rent looking like. But you want to live like a local, tier one city, 700 to 1,000. That's the bare minimum, like straight up. And you could even with like 700, that could be your rent. You're going to be, and this is just tier one, 700 on the low end. That's you're going to be cooking out. You're going to be cooking. You could even eat out a lot. It just depends on how much you spend. 1,000, that's still kind of lean, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, still kind of lean. The locals do it, so you can do it. I'm just saying, you want to live like a local, cool. All right. I generally live in between this, just because we cook a lot. We cook at home, and then we don't really eat out all the time. But we don't really stop ourselves from like going and doing stuff. We could eat out every day if we wanted to. We just choose to. My girl, she likes to cook, so she just cooks. So in that perspective, we're pretty lean. We buy groceries, we eat out too, we go on dates and stuff. So we don't really not do things. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing is you as a expat, you didn't move to Vietnam just to not do stuff, right? Maybe you did. Maybe you just moved to Vietnam just to chill. Um, yeah, I don't know. I lived here long enough to where I'm more of a local, spending wise. I do like to have every week, my things, every week. So yeah, tier two, the lean. This is a little bit. I think 500 to 850 is pretty good. Actually, I think that's pretty good, to be honest. And this is max. Like if you spend every month 850 and USD, and um, that includes your rent, everything, like everything, your living expense here, you could do it in a tier two for sure. Not saying you can't do it in a tier one. You can. I'm talking about 850 right here. You can do it. Okay. Tier two is just going to be better. It's going to be more easy. You don't have to stress too much about it. And you can live better as a king here. But again, it depends on the city you live. That's why you could do it in Canto. Excuse me, I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm gonna say how I say it right now because Canto. You can say you can live in Canto for 850, easy, everything included. But you can't live in the Chang for 850. Maybe you can. I'm not sure, but I don't think you can even live in the lot for 850 all the way. Maybe someone in the comments tell me if you're living in the lot, not worried about nothing. You can eat out every day. You can buy the drinks, the waters, the whatever you want for 850 in the Chang, and your rent's included, and everything out the door 850, and or the lot. Someone in the comments, if you read it or you view this, let me know, man, because I think it's gonna be more like this 1,000. But you can do it in a tier two Canto. You can do it a Hue, easily Hue. You could absolutely live in Hue for 850 out the door. Okay. Tier 3, easy. You could easily live for 850. Let's leave it at that. Expats, tier 1. I mean, if you want to be stable, you want to be cool, you want to be cool. If you want to live like a local, go and spend about $1,000. Totally, we spend probably about 1,500 every month. No, what am I talking about? No. Yeah, we probably spend about anywhere from 1,100 to 12, and that's everything included. 1,100 out the door every month for the most part. That's me and my wife, fiance, technically fiance. Okay, no, we haven't been married yet. Okay, but I'll get to your comment in a minute. Tier 1. Okay, so we generally spend about 1,100 every month, and we don't want for nothing. We don't want for nothing at 1,100. Living in the center, in the most expensive area, in the most expensive city in Vietnam, 1,100 out the door. That's me. That's what I spend. Like both of us combined, but that's what we spend. And yeah, 1,100, you be all right. Now you take that to a tier 2. I wouldn't spend 1,100 in a tier 2 city. Just wouldn't, because there's not like your entertainment would be different. Again, I don't go out. We don't go out like that. But we'll go on dates and stuff, and things cost a little bit more here than they would in a tier 2 city, right? And vice versa in tier 3. All right. Let me go back to you. Let me go to the comments. AVL says, yeah, when I lived in the Philippines, I stayed outside of Manila. Yeah. Did you save a lot more money? I assume you did. So what made you live outside there, and why didn't you live in Manila? I know it's expensive, but yeah. What made you live outside of there, and what were the benefits? Appreciate you, my boy. Boogie Yugi, my girl says District 2 and 3 for me. Liking Bintan area. Okay, Bintang area. Okay. Yeah, Bintan is a good area. But yeah, I'll holler at you. But yeah, it's a nice area. Appreciate you, girl. All right, so DJ Shiloh says DJ Shiloh. Yeah, DJ Shiloh says, I noticed you call her your wife, girlfriend, fiance. Did you marry her? No, we didn't marry. We're still fiancés. We're gonna get married in the next couple months. So yeah. Paperwork, again, slow paperwork. Just got to get it done. That's it. But I never call her my girlfriend. She's not my girlfriend. She's my fiance or my wife. But you know how it is. You know how it's brothers. That's my wife. That's my wifey. So that's when I refer to my girl as a wife. Until you see a ring on this finger, yeah, she's my wifey. But yeah, she is my fiance. You saw the video. If you didn't, go check it out. We are fiancés. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it. Boogie Oogie says, I don't know if I'm going to get to their wet bathrooms. Huh? I don't know if I'm going to get to use their wet bathrooms. Okay. I don't know what you're referring to, but let me know. Thanks for the comment though. DJ Shallow says, thanks. I'm just really curious about the perks of being married to a Vietnamese woman, what their family think, and how easy the process is. Your lady seems like a keeper. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I got lucky, man. And it's not like I could talk about dating, and obviously in another video I will, and I will constantly talk about it, because before I met my lady, I'm just gonna go real quick. Before I met my lady, I didn't understand how Vietnamese women really were. Like, I was starting to get to know, how they were. And then I met her and I was like, oh, well, she's like North girl. She's like North girl. And so honestly, like, she really showed me how like how North people really rock. And like I'm an advocate about dating Vietnamese women and getting to know them and putting in the time and the effort, um, and then getting married to them, right? Because from what I've seen, the difference between her and other girls that I've talked to, Vietnamese here, she's just nurturing and just an amazing heart and human being. Like she has the heart of like myself, and where she cares about people, she cares about others, right? I don't like I see that here in Vietnam, and I see that a lot because I'm just around a lot of like girls like that, but no one I've ever come across that has her heart that I've seen yet. Um, but I am around hundreds of Vietnamese girls that are single and that are looking for foreigners or looking for a partner. And so I see this, teaching. And so this is why I keep trying to tell guys like there's millions of girls, that are like my girl that are good women, good solid women that are actually looking for foreigners, uh, that they want a shot. They want a genuine shot at a real relationship, not just because of what they look like. So, long story short, thank you. Appreciate it. She's an amazing person. I will let you know. I will be documenting the process of marriage here on this channel. So just stay with me, man. Subscribe and follow me, brother. Um, I think you and other people should really give Vietnamese women a shot, because as far as a brother, if they're willing to give you a shot, uh, all you can do is be a good person. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of cheating going on around this in this country when it comes to foreigners and when it comes to uh, local men and local women. But but a good I can't tell you and I can't stress you enough that if you're a good foreign guy and you come here with good intention and with a good heart and you open it up, yeah, this country has a bunch of fuckery. It has a bunch of fuckery. But if you find a good one, don't fuck it up. And I say that with myself. I say that with everybody, right? I'm transparent on this channel. I'm a transparent person in real life. I believe in that. I stand on principle, straight up. Even if I'm wrong, even if I'm right, that's the way I was raised. And I think Vietnamese women have an opportunity that could really give people, men, a second chance at life, right? Vietnamese women love hard. So, anyways, long story short, just follow the channel, bro. See, I just love talking about her. She's great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. At ABL says, yes, I lived in a house and benefits were less traffic and nicer people. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and in those tier three, well, some tier two, um, most tier three and tier four, you're just gonna be a celebrity, man. So that's what it is. Appreciate you, bro. DJ Shiloh says, you're the first person to ever say my name right. Yeah, I see you. It's this air pollution, guys. I'm telling you. Thanks for the response. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Thanks for the response and for all that you do. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Just trying to give us brothers a shining light here, man. For real. I keep it a buck with you guys. Vietnam's great, but you just got to beware. Boogie Yugi says, I do not know if I can get to use their toilet, to use their wet bathrooms. They have in some of the apartments. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean by wet bathroom now. So she's talking about a wet bathroom, meaning where the shower. I have it. I have it here. I showed it in my video. So where the showers is with the toilet and all the other stuff, right? The sink and everything. It's all kind of together. Um, I actually kind of like it here. I'm not a fan of wet bathrooms previously. I had to have it separate, and then our previous apartment here, we had it separate. But I understand what you're saying. I just don't like all that stuff. But the way they designed it here, it doesn't get everything super wet, and there's actually space for once you shut the door. There's actually space there, so it's cool. It's cool. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Appreciate you though. AVL says I lived like a local with a foreigner budget. I love the markets and fresh foods. I lost 35 pounds. Yeah, I feel you. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I lost 35 pounds in 3 months from eating and walking the hills and the mountains of Bu- Bulacan. Bulacan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Yeah. I mean, again, there's benefits to living in these tier 3 and tier 4 cities. I'm not knocking them. There's benefits, right? And if you can find a good woman, or some or at least something to get your mind off, that they ain't nothing to do, it's gonna be even better. All right. Just keep it in the bean with y'all. It's gonna be even better. All right. And AVL says we need an invite. Yes, I will be probably streaming it. Okay. I'll probably be live streaming my wedding. All right. Just stay tuned for that. All right. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. All right. So thank you all for the comments. Appreciate that. So which tier fits you, right? I would say this. What would you where would you like to live, right? Let me know in the comments after you see this. Okay. So for builders, I would sit here and say again, tier one, let me just break this down for you. Tier one is going to be where your jobs are and where you're going to network. Okay? That's it. I would network, get a job, get stable. Okay? This channel is all about stability. Move here, get stable, then go have fun. Don't have fun first. Get stable first, move here, get stable, get a job, start slow, but build your network. Okay. That's what I preach on this channel, and that's what I tell my clients. Do that first, and then you move into having fun. Okay. It's very important that you get stable first here in Vietnam. Okay. You don't understand how difficult it is to live abroad. If this is your first time ever living abroad, get stable first. Okay. Don't get distracted. If you're a man, don't get distracted by the shiny little objects. You know what I'm talking about. Don't get distracted by that. Okay. Build first. Then you'll be able to find a better quality woman. Okay. Straight up. Get stable here, get stable, find a good quality woman, or have fun, and then find a good quality woman. Okay, tier two, again, it's going to be your best value. Definitely. You're going to have a good balance of, because even in Vietnam, you still have, even if you work full time, you're still going to have a good work life balance here in Vietnam. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I work a ton at, Monday through Friday. I work a ton, but it's very taxing on the mind. Um, and it can be very taxing if you've never done teaching public school, if you never taught public school, right? If you've never taught here, it's completely different. Excuse me, it's completely different than teaching in the West. Completely. So whatever you think you know about teaching, you don't know anything here. Here, okay, it's way different. A lot of teachers who are actually real teachers don't really get along with the system here, which is kind of funny. It was weird, but sucks. Tier two, it's gonna be your best value. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be your best value if you choose correctly. All right. My man earlier in the live who lives in Kanto right now, who lives there right now, who's lived there for 20 years on and off. Like he could probably tell you the best its best value. Okay, because he's lived there on and off for 20 years. He probably has a wife, probably has some children there, so he has stuff there, right? He's established. Again, get stable first, then go look for your girl. Just saying. By the way, I'm just gonna say the girls in the north are better. Just gonna keep it a buck. They're more stable than the girls in the south. Don't get don't get played by a pretty smile, guys. That's all I'm saying. All right. Um, Retirees, you guys would probably find a 2 and 3 tier city better because it's quiet. My boy K Dog, he's screaming for, and he'll probably watch this. He's screaming for it to be quiet in a tier 1 city, and it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You got to go to a tier 2, tier 3 if you want quiet in this country. Like I'm talking about the whole country. If you want quiet, don't expect it. I mean, Hanoi's pretty quiet. Hanoi's pretty quiet. But here in Ho Chi Minh City, it's not going to be quiet, guys. It's not quiet. Okay? And if you're going to go to a tier 3 city, you can save a lot of money. I'm not going to lie, you can save a lot of money. Just make sure you have your healthcare plan. Okay? And just be prepared because you're going to have to, your international hospitals are not going to be right down the street. It's going to be more local hospitals. Okay, be prepared for that. Okay, that's why I put healthcare plan. Okay, and then the guys who want to reset, just want to chill. If you need that structure and you need services, honestly, tier 4 is a risky decision. I know. You come from a Western mentality, a Western city, and you're like, I just want to get far away from that. You can be in a tier 1 city and still be okay. Okay, don't think you need to go to a tier 4 from a international, fully developed country tier 1s, to a developing country tier 4. It's night and day. It's night and day. You might think, it's peaceful, and then you want to go meet up with some girls, and then you want to go, and then they're not there, and then you have to go 10 kilometers to go to a supermarket, and you're like, I lived on the ranch in the U.S. and I lived in the rural areas in Vietnam. It's two different things. Okay, the convenience is not there. All right. Um, that's gonna do it here, guys. I mean, that's all I got. I mean, let me see what your comments are. I hope you guys learned some information, man, about what it is living in a tier 1, the difference between a tier 1 and tier 2, difference between a tier 3 and a tier 4, and examples of, right? Again, living in let me see. Living in the South, I just really want you guys to understand living in the South of Vietnam is completely different from living in the Central, okay, than living in the North. All right. I know you guys know this. I know a bunch of YouTubers have told you, but I've experienced it for years. Okay. And I'm really telling you that Vietnam and living abroad in general it's all you can use what I'm teaching you on this channel to go in any other country. Okay. But generally, specifically how Vietnam works, get yourself a Vietnamese partner, get yourself a Vietnamese friend, understand where they're from. If you're visiting Central and you have a Central friend, it's gonna connect easier. Okay. If you have a North friend and you have and you're up in the north, it's going to connect easier. Same, south, south, right? Going to connect easier. Where the friction can be is that, and it will be, okay, I'm preparing you guys, okay, is that if you have a north and you're living in the south, there's friction there. If you same central and you live in the north, not so much, but there's still language friction. Okay, same north uh, to central, or south to central, or central to south. Okay, whatever. It. Just understand that these things do exist. Okay, and I will say the faster you can get stable, whichever tier you want to go to, tier 1, 2, 3, or 4, um, just try to, you're going to have to act accordingly. Okay. Tier 1 is going to be more regular living, move in, and then people are going to leave you alone. Tier 2, generally the same thing. Tier 3 and 4, you're going to have to immerse yourself into their culture and into your neighborhood, into your community much faster than you would if you're in a tier 1 or tier 2 city. Okay. Again, you can save a ton of money being in a tier 2 city, being in a tier 3 city. That's going to be your best value. Okay. For your overall lifestyle, whatever. But if you must have those international delicacies and those international activities, stick with a tier 1 city for now. Okay. Get here, stay in the tier 1 city for a couple years, and then understand how the culture works within your ecosystem and your community within Vietnam, and then start exploring. Okay, maybe you find a partner, you never know. But I am going to say before I wrap it up here is that if you're a man or if you're a woman that's looking for a Vietnamese woman, it's never been easier than today. Never. Because they're open, and more open in the South. But I will say, because of social media, this whole country is opening up to us foreigners. Nobody's going to tell you, people are going to say I'm lying or whatever, whatever. I'm living this stuff. I'm living it every day, y'all, for real. Okay. Never been easier for foreigner Vietnamese relationships to come together. If you're a good guy and you really are looking for, or a good woman and you're really looking for a good relationship, all you got to do is get here, man. Get here. Get here, get stable, then go out and look. Don't do it the other way around. Don't do like everybody else does. Everybody goes on these apps, everybody is doing it the wrong way. They don't understand how Vietnamese people work. They want stability. Vietnamese women want stability. They're never going to talk to you if you're a traveler. A real Vietnamese woman is not going to do that in a tier 1, 2, 3, or 4. Maybe in a 3 or 4, you'll probably be a situationship. But that's about it. And I'm sure most of you guys are okay with that. I mean, before I found my fiance, I was okay with that too. Well, I was fine with it, right? I wanted some experience, right? So I'm not knocking it. I just have gone through it. I've been through it. I know how it is, and I see the other end of it, and I'm like, okay. Well, I tried to date in a tier 3 city. It was nobody, like older chicks, just older chicks. All right. I was 35 at the time, so I'm talking about 40 and up. Okay. Really, seriously, tier 3. Never lived in a tier 4, but the aunties. I've driven through tier 4 cities. The aunties hollering. Um, yeah, what I mean. They're like basically the tier 3 and 4. They're like they have they'll throw their daughters, at you, like straight up. Okay, so just try not to get too carried away with that. Okay. Tier 1s, they're not throwing their daughters at you. They're like, trying to keep them away from you. Tier tier 2s, it's a 50-50. it depends on which tier 2 city. But the lower tier 2 cities, they're throwing their daughter. Hey, it's my daughter's right there, right? So you can have all kinds of different experiences. You can have all kinds of different experiences here, man. It just really depends on where you're where you're up to and what city. That's why it's important to pick the right city, man. You know, I see some more. I definitely see some more comments. Let me see. We need invite. Got that one already. Boogie Oogie tier 2 to 3 for me. Are you sure? Are you sure? We'll talk on the back end, but I don't know. Maybe the tier 2s, the more upper developed tier 2s for you for sure, because I know what you want. But I don't know. We can look into some tier 3s though. Yeah, that's cool. We can look into some tier 3s. I'll look into some tier 3s for you. Thanks, Boogie Yigi. John Golden says stability is always the priority for me. Tier 1, exactly. Yeah, I mean, but you've been an expat for a while, so you know what you want already. You know, I mean, once you've been an expat for a while and you actually somewhere else, another country, you kind of understand like what you really are looking for, right? And then you and I've talked on the back end as well, John. So I know what you're looking for too, and definitely I would say you're a tier 1 guy for sure. But can't wait to see you, bro. Much love. John Golden again says, also, thanks for the updated resource guide. Yeah, you got it. It covers a lot of pointed details. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for saying that. Appreciate it. I'm working hard back here, man. I'm trying to do so many different things, but just focusing, man. Just focusing. And the most important thing through all of this in Vietnam is there's so much opportunity. You got to find time to rest. So yeah. All right, man. I see one more. Thanks, John. Appreciate you, brother. Really do. AVL says 1 and 2 for sure. Yeah, I get it. For me, it's 1 and 2. Now, when I have children, when we have children here in the near future, I will say maybe a 2 or 3, and do business in 1 and 2. So that's where I think that we really we will find that kind of benefit. You know what I mean? And my voice is gone. So yeah, I think I really appreciate you guys. Let me see. AVL, appreciate AVL. AVL says we appreciate you also. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Mad love. Happy New Year. I need a new keyword. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Again, guys, if you guys are looking for, thank you, AVL. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You guys are looking for any kind of relocation, traveling, anything, holler at your boy. I have links in the description. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys like this video and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Trying to grow this thing. All right. Appreciate you guys. See you again. Have a good Friday night. Now I'm sure it's Saturday night, but have a good Friday night. Be safe. See you on the next one. Peace.